Hey everybody, welcome back. Sorry, I just got out of the rain and I got a new dog. I think I told you that before, but maybe I did showed you. And I sent you an email. Sorry about that. Maybe QQ here. Um, all right, so Megalomania assignment. Um, talk about that a little bit. We'll talk about the data journalism assignment and then also the major assignment, which I'm assigning essentially now, but I'll let you know what that means. First of all, the Megalomania assignment. Um, so I realized that it was like right after spring break was the deadline, but um, I gave everybody 3 weeks on that, and I really want people to enjoy this and enjoy writing that sort of thing. So I hate doing this kind of like we got to do our work, guys. But let me just say that like I'm just going to kind of move forward now. If you're not going to turn in your work, you're not going to turn in your work. That's your priority. But I gave out probably a record number of Fs on an assignment, largely because 4 people didn't turn them in. So four Fs. I looked like for a while there was going to be 6 Fs. Um, so anyway, so just really, I'm just trying to teach a skill here. Okay, so I mean, if and deadlines is part of it. It's a huge part of it. So if you're not going to participate, you're not going to participate. I'm kind of done, you know, lecturing on like a need to do this and maybe even chasing after people for that. So I want people to enjoy this skill. It's an important skill. It's something that actually um, um, it's our last gate of protection, you know, before we to protect ourselves from basically misinformation, which could be like the most dangerous thing, dangerous than any kind of physical disease or anything like that that can happen to us is to be misled. Okay, so journalism is that last gate, and then there's a lot of people who are not doing the job that they should be as journalists, but there are a lot of people who are. So that's what I want to get out of this class is to learn how to write in a way that is accessible and connects with people and informs people. Okay, so megalomania assignment was a way to kind of draw people into the idea of like you got to like go beyond just what's given to you on a silver platter. You have to actually like get information. Now, you're getting this video on what would be the due date. I'm doing it a little bit earlier, but be the due date for the rewrite for Megalomania. I'm hoping everybody gets those in. Um, again, there is a separate entry for that. Okay, so please make sure you do that. Um, I realize again that I may have said this before, but we did that story about online classes versus non-online classes. It's interesting, like the responses I got, and maybe I can see it now. I think things have been changing a bit, and I think many more people took online classes in the past, and now maybe fewer are. Because so I think it's a matter of really just really better disciplining yourselves. Next semester, I'm actually not. Looks like I'm not teaching any online classes, but it's really, I mean, as long as we have these available to us and you're taking these classes, I realize it's supposed to be more convenient and helpful in that way. But at the same time, it's it is an issue. Disciplining yourself is an issue. So and people wrote that and said that, and I appreciate that. So let's try to do that this last month. Okay. All right, so I'm going to share the screen here, talk a little bit about the data journalism assignment. I probably won't have like a ton to talk about today. I always say that, right? This is again the teacher view, so you're not going to see everything here, but by the time this is the Megalomania press release rewrite. Here is again is the data journalism assignment. And again, as I demonstrated last week, this again is really just the the biggest newest thing, which is the trend. It's not the latest increase or whatever. It's the trend of the last 5 years. How many times again the lead should almost be Rutgers has raised tuition blank times over the last 5 years. Okay, according to whatever media reports, according to Rutgers news releases, which, like I said, was probably the easiest way to actually you know get that information. Rutgers tuition, you can just do Rutgers tuition hike, again, 2018, you can see I already searched for that. I think my computer was operating a little more slowly last week, and there it is, there's a Rutgers news release. And again, what I'm looking for in this is like maybe some general reason for why they've raised tuition X number of times over the last 5 years. Usually it's the same reason every time, so you could state some just general reason. This is, and again, from a news release, you could just get it right straight from their mouths, okay? You know, allows us to maintain the top academic programs that Rutgers offers to our outstanding students, meaning that basically costs go up and they have to pay for it, okay? So that's their general reason every time. And I really strongly suggest you could get information from the NJ.com, places like that. But the thing about that is that you have to attribute it to the actual news source. This way you can actually just attribute it to Rutgers. This is Rutgers' public statement. This is a public domain statement. You can just easily use and insert into your story with the quotes without having to attribute it to another source. You could say basically Sandy Stewart said this. This is meant for public consumption. So, all right, much like the Megalomania release was too. Okay. All right. So again, and then pointing out maybe particular years where the tuition increase was higher, and maybe where it didn't, highest I think was 2.9. Ooh, I gave that away. Hope you're watching this video. The lowest was 0.0. Ooh, I gave that away because of COVID. Ooh, I gave that away. What year was that? So, highlighting certain years where maybe it was more extraordinary than others. That's important. Okay. Don't forget also there is actually a discussion point. And as of this writing, or as of this viewing, I'm actually, I believe I have 2. So I am looking at class participation here. Isaiah, thank you very much. I actually asked for people not just to provide their opinion, stepping out of the reporter's shoes, but also provide maybe some sort of an anecdote. Okay. Isaiah said, I honestly feel tuition hikes impose on college students. Stakeholders should really confer with the students and their families during the discussion. Again, this is kind of you don't even necessarily need to know how many times the tuition increase has been raised in the last 5 years in order to answer these questions. Just answer the question, do you think that basically tuition is too high? Okay. And you're supposed to go to the bottom of the story. Right now I have a financial hold restriction with the student accounting department. My mother has tried her best to pay all she can. It's a good anecdote, and I'm sorry, Isaiah, you're going through that. It's tough to hear that. But that's a good anecdote because it basically colors the story in a way that provides some sort of relatable information. Okay. We have Janice, thank you very much, also providing her own opinion on it. I believe the tuition height rates are already high enough as it is. So we have 2 people who basically don't like it. When factoring other costs of room and board, meals and meal plans, and other extra fees, it's very high. Okay. So we have 2 people here. We can quote, maybe use some anecdotal information here. As I enter my upper classman years, I can see how my financial aid will decrease. So that's maybe some anecdotal information right there, because that's like one of the big issues that personally affects people is how much financial aid they get to offset those tuition hikes. Okay. All right. So again, that is due a week from now. You really just again, like the other stories, I would really strongly suggest that you come to me and ask any questions you have. I haven't heard from a lot of people. I haven't had a lot of people actually ask for Zoom meetings or anything like that. Please do so, because that's important. I also look at that for class participation. Sometimes I see stories come in and they say, why didn't they just ask for help? Please do that. Okay. I'm not a mean guy. All right. All right, so let's look at what I'm also posting. Be posted on Monday. Again, I'm taping this before Monday, but by the time you see this, it'll be posted. Major assignment proposal. Okay, so that'll be the last assignment, and I'll be posting this at the end of the week. The major assignment, which will be due on May 1st. Okay, but the major assignment proposal will be just a story that basically will be a more in-depth story. I'm not talking about a major investigative story. It'll be kind of an idea along the same lines of what we've been doing, but just something that maybe adds a little more depth, something maybe require a little more extensive comment from people. And again, maybe reaction stories to whatever's going on, maybe the best option. I mean, this tuition story could be I'm not asking you to do a story on tuition because we've already done that, but that could have been a story that we could have gone deeper into depth and longer on that sort of thing. Okay. So what I'm asking you guys to do is by Thursday, okay? And if you don't do it by Thursday, important, failure to submit the proposal on time will result in a full grade deduction on the major assignment, okay? That's Thursday, end of the day, you have to submit this idea in this entry right here, okay? And again, I'm looking at maybe some story that maybe you can explore with a little more depth. It doesn't have to be maybe some major investigative piece. For this initial preparatory assignment, you will write a description of a proposed topic for the major assignment. Keep it to 2 or 3 sentences, just on the Microsoft Word doc, okay? The idea here is our reporters have to be self-managers. You need to think of ideas on your own. So that's the major thing I'm looking here. It's not necessarily like, I'm looking at obviously a story with a little more depth and that sort of thing, but I want you to come up with a good, solid idea that matters to people. It doesn't have to be a Rutgers idea, but just something. I mean, I had people write about a plane crash, and I had a lot of people from there a couple of semesters ago, and they were from China, and they wanted to write about people's reaction to it, and how they were dealing with it. So I said, yes, it's a good idea, actually. So, because there's many different perspectives that can come out of that, and how it's impacting people emotionally, the sadness of it. Maybe they even knew people, that sort of thing, and how it's impacting the people and their emotions, their economy, whatever. Okay. Your description should state the topic of the story, why you think it's of interest to readers. Okay. Here's what the description of the story should focus on. Again, this is for proposal due is due on March 30th, end of the day, but the actual assignment is due on May 1st. Okay. So it's what's timely, not stuff that happened years ago, something that's going on right now or something. Okay. News events impacting you, people care about. Maybe it's something that happened last year, but still impacting people, whatever. Okay. Something that's manageable, no major investigations, please. Just something that basically, basically is something that we can do in a month and is newsy, and something I, again, recommend reaction stories, that sort of thing. Okay. I've had people take on more challenging tasks, and I have actually rewarded them. Maybe I've given them a higher grade than normally would have, because they've taken on something that maybe required a little more investigation, and maybe where they had to interview an administrator at Rutgers or something like that, and actually it's hard to do that. Much harder to do that than interview a student. Okay. So there's that. Okay. You can go a little bit to a higher level. Something that's going on at the university that you want to put more in depth on, maybe like some project they're doing involving the buses or something, or the roads or whatever. Yes, you can do that too. That's up to you. Okay. But something that manageable, something no major investigations. Keep it as simple as possible, simplistic. Okay. Something that incorporates what we talked about this semester, something that shows impact while also being relatable, as I just described. Like reaction stories can be like that. Okay. And then I provide 2 examples of proposals that have worked. And let me make sure that I actually have them right here. Here's Morgan. She said proposed topic. She didn't have to do it exactly like this, but I'm looking for something more like this. And this is basically, I have to approve the idea, okay, in order to kind of set you on your path. How do Rutgers feel about the housing selection process? Is housing for Rutgers students sometimes difficult to find? I want to see Rutgers students feel about student housing, whether on or off campus. So it's such a reaction story. There's something that's kind of ongoing. It's the condition of housing and that sort of thing. Okay. And she turned that into a very readable story. Okay. And here it was, which actually I provide when I actually post. She got an A on it when I actually post the actual major assignment post. Students at Rutgers University say they're upset with the housing selection process at Rutgers, and that it often feels unfair and hard to get housing. So basically, there's an idea and an angle here. So basically, people hate it. And basically, the story is written in a way where it's actually where it follows that transition anecdote, a little bit loosely, but anecdote and quote process. Some students say that seniority doesn't guarantee good housing for juniors and seniors, and lottery is unfair. She had to actually 2 transitions here, essentially, because it is a longer story, and she wanted to provide a little bit of explanation for how students feel about it, which requires maybe a little more depth. Peyton Jordan, Rutgers is an lottery system. Rutgers is abysmal compared to other universities where they prioritize upperclassmen. Jordan details that it's a disappointment that there are no factors added to the randomized lottery systems. That's anecdotal information, the stuff you got to face. And then a quote. Okay. Then a transition. Other students are saying that the housing lottery is also unfair when it comes to getting medical accommodations. So there's another point to be made there. Okay. All right. And Ja Wen was another one who he basically, yes, he wrote about the reaction to the plane crash, which is very unfortunate. And I basically made sure that when I wrote back to him that he just stuck to the reaction and he didn't make it like a major news story about the accident itself. That he just basically wrote about. His English was a little broken here, so I kind of, but airplane is still affecting people and makes people frustrated about it. Some people said it's still shocking and terrifying for them. Passenger, actually, I married a passenger. Okay, who was planning to take another flight that day. Said he was planning to take another flight to Shanghai. He was shocked when he learned of the news of the accident before he took off. He said he had hardly heard of a major accident on this flight before. Basically talking about his personal emotions and how he was feeling about it and that sort of thing. Okay. So that's how he turned that idea into a story. Okay. So the description is due March 30th. Again, that's Thursday. Microsoft Word doc through this Canvas entry. Okay. And after I approve everything, then I'll post the actual major assignment post. Okay. And maybe if you need help with like getting reaction from people, I can actually also do like I did before, like discussion stuff like that, if you're actually looking for help in that regard. There's no rewrite on this. So in this particular case, I'm actually looking kind of almost like a rewrite in reverse. You actually really, this is what you would do on project stories, so longer stories, more in depth, stuff you do down the line. We also call evergreen stories, stuff that like maybe bigger and then you actually try to work ahead of time because it's something maybe you're planning as a big spread and a really readable thing that's going to help really kind of get clicks on your website, more expanded story, a story that's written to be read from top to bottom. Okay. So there's no rewrite on this story, but what I look for people is to actually have, maybe like you would present me, please, it's not required, but maybe some sort of rough draft ahead of time. You have a whole month, so you can do that whenever you want. And then I provide some sort of guidance to let you know you're going in the right direction. Okay. So yes, that's posted. The final submission must be done via Canvas separate entry. Okay. So that is posted. Again, please, I need people to work ahead of time. I need people to communicate with me. If you even want to do like some sort of a Zoom meeting on anything, please do so. We have one other assignment we'll be doing in between the data journalism assignment and the major assignment, which I'll talk about next week. That's actually a feature assignment. And that'll be the last new thing I'll actually introduce. So we'll be talking about the data journalism assignment, the rewrite too. That'll be something coming up. The feature assignment that I'll sign next week, and of course the feature assignment rewrite, and then in the major assignment. Okay. So please reach out, see the discussion point. I like to see more people contribute to that for the data journalism assignment. And please reach out for any kind of help on the major assignment. Okay. So thanks very much, guys, and I will be talking to you.